One of the things we love most about The Good Doctor is how easy the cast makes everything look. But let us tell you, you'll be surprised to hear about all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. From having to deal with heart-wrenching goodbyes and pandemic scares, to being bombarded with weird storylines and yucky scenes to boot. And that's only the tip of the iceberg.
It's only season 5, I don't know where it goes from here.
Well, many fans hoped it was heading towards a wedding, and who can blame us considering that Leah DeLallo proposed to Dr. Shaun Murphy at the end of season 4? Which brings us to rule number 1. Stay as quiet as a mouse. The promos of season 5 legit made it seem like Freddie Highmore's character would be getting married, and the network definitely didn't have a problem with toying with fans' hopes and dreams. 1 week before the season 5 premiere, ABC teased viewers with this post. "We've all dreamed of this day," the caption read. It turns out that Freddie Highmore had to go to extreme lengths to avoid spilling the beans, which is that it was a dream sequence all along and not the real deal.
It's probably the hardest time I've ever had doing press, when the teaser suggests something that's the complete opposite of what actually goes to happen.
The actor found it really difficult to keep a poker face in press interviews, knowing full well that the promos were more than a little misleading. And you know what made it even weirder? We'll tell you. Freddie's actually a newlywed in real life. Yeah, and it seems that there must be super strict privacy rules written into the whole cast's contracts. Why do we say that? Well, because everything's been kept under the radar, and we didn't hear of any co-stars spilling Highmore's real-life secret.
I'm not going to jump up and down on the couch
You're
on
not?
a talk show and express my excitement that way. I know that you do that in America, but I'm as happy as a Brit can be.
If you're like us, you're probably dying to know more about Highmore's wife, where they tied the knot, and all the deets. Sadly, that's all still a mystery. Despite confirming his marital status, it's obvious that Freddie doesn't want to share too many personal details about his marriage. Freddie hasn't revealed the identity of his bride, but described her as a wonderful woman. Just goes to show that he can trust his San Jose family with his biggest secrets. Speaking of keeping up appearances, this show's been tough for Highmore and another co-star, and it's due to a pretty specific rule. Pretend to be American. Few people would guess that Highmore and Antonia Thomas are really British. Their American accents are just so natural and believable. But don't let that fool you. It hasn't always been easy.
Being British, we're brought up with American, Hollywood movies from tiny. So used to hearing the sound. But I guess you do a bit of practice at drama school. When I first started auditioning in LA, it was a kind of a really nerve-wracking thing.
Thomas also revealed that her audition for the role of Dr. Claire Brown was not a walk in the park. For one, her audition call came in really last minute, as in the night before last minute. One Friday she was out having drinks, but her social call was cut short by a call from her agent. Her audition would be the next morning. Naturally, she went straight home and practiced her lines and lots of complicated medical jargon. Adding insult to the injury, the audition room was more crowded than she'd anticipated. The producers and the director were all there, and then the audition panel asked Thomas to do British and American versions of her lines. So yeah, it was quite a lot of work, and I definitely walked in thinking, ugh, this isn't gonna go my way. But it all worked out. The British actress isn't the only one having to put in extra effort to fit into American culture. Since filming for The Good Doctor takes place in Canada, the very British Highmore decided to get his fill of the local nature scene.
I've been filming in Vancouver, but I've been trying to experience a little bit of the wilderness. And so I did this whale watching tour. But of course, being a Brit, or maybe it's the same here, but I fancied myself as a bit of a David Attenborough.
And this is how his naturalist commentary went down.
It's a whale. And a tail. This is another one.
On a totally different note, in any long-running show, one thing is inevitable, so this next one is kind of an unspoken rule. Prepare for tough goodbyes. After 4 seasons as Dr. Claire Brown, Thomas announced that she would be leaving the show to pursue other projects. Clearly, it wasn't an easy decision. The actress could barely hold it together as she bid her Good Doctor family farewell.
I feel so honoured to have acted alongside you guys and to call you guys my friends. Freddie, just possibly the best number one I think a company could ever ask for.
It's never easy to say goodbye. Which reminds us of 2 other heart-wrenching cast exits in season 3. Here's a shout out to Nicholas Gonzalez as Dr. Mendelez. Gonzalez's character was written off for creative reasons, but we still miss this particular good doctor. Of course, the show lost another regular at around the same time. No explicit reason has been given for why the creative team wrote off Jessica Nicole's Dr. Carly Lever. It does seem likely that the character's exit had to do with her storyline. That said, the actress was stung by this decision, and even felt like she was used as a prop to push forward the other white characters' narratives. Whatever the case, it must have been hard for the on-set family to greet so many beloved colleagues. And the cast and crew also had to navigate another difficult rule: mask up and stay safe. The whole world has been buckling under the weight of the pandemic, and many loved ones have been lost over the past 2 years. Keep watching to hear which cast members gave us all a massive fright. But first, The Good Doctor is known for touching on important real-world topics. That's why the creative team wrote a storyline that saw nurse Dina Petringa succumbing to COVID-19. More recently, the network shared this powerful message on social media. To everyone on the front lines, we applaud you. Understandably, the cast and crew took filming amidst the new normal seriously.
The protocols and stuff I feel like we're all relatively used to with the nasal tests on set and stuff.
Although it's not unusual to wear a mask if you're in a medical drama, they all took it up a notch. Christina Chang, who plays Dr. Audrey Lim, revealed that everyone follows COVID protocols to a T. However, there are also efforts to be kind to the environment. According to Chang, some of the cast's personal protective equipment are recycled to reduce wastage. If you see me using a KN95 mask, for example, on camera, we'd preserve that and put it in a UV sanitizer so that I can use it the next time. On the topic of filming in the hot zone, Chang admitted that it was pretty surreal. The actress has a big heart and often feels other people's pain. I cry at the table reads, and sometimes while I'm shooting too, which is not appropriate. This is an emotional show. So we can only imagine how upset she must have been when the virus hit too close for comfort. Executive producer Daniel Day Kim contracted COVID-19 shortly after production wrapped on Season 3. Then, while filming Season 4, Richard Schiff, aka Dr. Glassman, and his wife Sheila Kelly also tested positive. Schiff's wife and son recovered at home, but he had to be hospitalized and put on oxygen. Thankfully, he pulled through and expressed his gratitude after being released from hospital. I'm so grateful for all the love and support, thanks to fantastic nurses and docs. I'm aware of how lucky I am. Let's take a moment to think of those out there who are still struggling. We're so relieved to see Schiff back in full form. Can always count on Richard Schiff to keep everyone in check. On to a slightly gross rule: get used to blood and gore. Back in Season 3, many fans took to the internet expressing their repulsion. It turns out that one part of the Season 3 premiere went a little too far and was just too graphic. Many fans wished they could unsee the grisly wound in the said episode. Are we just going to ignore the maggots on that man's infected foot? That was gross, one fan wrote. If fans find it so yucky and they're just seeing it on their TV screens, can you imagine how the cast must have felt? Maybe it'll set your mind at ease to know that all those injuries and body parts are, in this case at least, not real. It's all thanks to the work of makeup and practical effects artists and good editing. Personally, we think the Good Doctor cast should thank their lucky stars, as there are some other medical dramas that use bovine organs. Yuck. In any case, we haven't found any cast complaints, so maybe their contract requires them to be quiet and suck it up. That said, there is one weird scene that deserves a brief mention.
Drank? Yes, Mommy drank my poop.
Highmore's response to this hilarious scene will remind you just why you love him so much.
It's very common. It was our attempt. We try and touch on hot topic issues on the show.
When you get the script and you're going through it, you go, what's this?
You sort of just have to trust the medical professional.
Clearly, Freddie's the best. But when he was first cast as Dr. Murphy, not everyone was happy. Go the extra mile. The main critique against Highmore's casting was why the show didn't cast an autistic actor to play Shaun. Well, we won't go into that today. On the other hand, some viewers had less of an issue with the casting decision and more of an issue with the actual character. For example, one Reddit user wrote, "No way would someone that severe in social skills deficit be able to work in a field like that, but it's just a TV show so they don't make it realistic." For all these doubts and concerns, most viewers have finally realized that Freddie is perfect for the role.
You realize the commitment behind taking on something of that magnitude.
As for keeping the character grounded in reality, Murphy's part required way more preparation than any previous role, and the hard work never ends. Highmore still consults with on-set autism expert Melissa Rayner. I had personal relationships with people who have autism even before this came along. But aside from that, I watched documentaries, read pieces of literature, and we had an autism consultant. Freddie also wants to remind us that together, he and creator David Shore have always aimed at representing autism as authentically as possible.
And at the same time, I think we've always been aware that we're telling Shaun's individual journey rather than trying to, have him be representative of everyone who has autism, which would be impossible.
On that note, we can't wait to see where Shaun's journey will lead him next. The Good Doctor has not been canceled or renewed for a 6th season, but we're still holding our thumbs and toes. For more on your favorite cast, check out our video about unexpected auditions and casting stories. Until next time, stay awesome.